Hey kids! Today we're going to do a simple sewing project where we're going to be using a plastic needle, and I really like using the plastic needles for the yarn, and we're going to be sewing with burlap, which is kind of see-through, and it's really easy to start with a beginner level project. We are going to sew the first or second initial of our name. Here's some projects from last year. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is sketch with Sharpie. I'm going to sketch an H in the middle of my burlap square. There's the H. Okay, now we're going to learn how to thread the needle. So take this folded up little piece of paper and pick a color that you'd like to use for your letter. I think I'm going to pick yellow. Alright, so this is where everybody has a hard time threading the needle. Now some of you might get it without using the piece of paper, okay, but the paper is a little helpful guide. So you're going to open up the piece of paper, you're going to put the yarn inside the piece of paper, fold it in half, take your sewing needle, the paper fits right in the sewing needle, take your other hand, pinch where you know the yarn is underneath, and then pull through. Now, you can start sewing like this. Sometimes kids like to give it one single tie. Make a loop. Put the little end through the loop and tighten. Okay. We're going to just do a simple under-over stitch. So I'm going to have my sewing needle underneath. I'm sewing from the back first. I'm going to push the sewing needle up. You're going to kind of have to work the sewing needle through the burlap. Now I'm going to keep pulling and stop because I don't want to pull my yarn through. You can tie a knot here. I'm just going to leave it if you want to tie a knot. Now I'm going to do a small stitch, pull it through. I've got one stitch there. Now my sewing needle's on the back, so I have to go through the back, pull the string through. I think it looks best when there's smaller stitches. You know, you don't want a huge stitch like this. That doesn't really show that you put any work into it. The smaller stitches show more detail. Now, if you make a mistake, you can always come back through the hole. So, I want that to come back out. So if I just put my sewing needle right through that hole that I messed up on, it comes back out. Sometimes kids can even go super fast by doing this kind of a thing. They weave their stitches small on the burlap, and then they pull through at the same time. I just made like 5 stitches in one pull. Alright, now what am I going to do with this part when I have to go back over here to the H? It doesn't matter what the back looks like, so I'm just going to put my sewing needle back through the back I can start here. By my chart. Now I've just got to do this last part. Looks like I'll have just enough yarn to finish this H. Now it should, if you finish your letter in one class period, that's pretty good. A lot of people are not going to finish just one piece of yarn. Now if you have extra time, you can go back through with the same color and stitch in between. You could pick a different color and go around the yellow. You could give your piece of burlap a border around. Sometimes people just like to sew, you know, maybe you want to sew like a little heart or a flower or just a little colorful stitch in the background. But there's lots of things that you